the world is changing and very rapidly, and I would say Canada needs to adapt. And it also gives us an opportunity to focus on our core objective, which is to spend less so we can invest more. You've seen that this morning we've announced a new capital budget framework and a new budget cycle. This is going to provide a number of opportunities and I would say improvements. The first one is clarity. Clarity for parliamentarians, because what we want is to make sure that parliamentarians can do their work of oversight over public spending. So it's going to align far better with the budget presentation, the main estimates, and the votes that we have in the House, and the oversight that parliamentarians need to do over public spending. It's also going to provide more predictability, I would say, for provinces and territories. I've been talking to them, businesses and organizations that rely on federal funding, and it's also going to provide more opportunities to align with the budgets, with the construction seasons, making sure we need to build more in this country, we need to build Canada strong, and that's going to better align, obviously, with what you see.
Your officials said today there will only be one deficit figure in the budget. So are you walking away from the pledge to present an operating budget balance? And if not, what is the operating budget balance?
What we're saying is that, so you're coming to how we're going to be presenting in the budget. So I think the capital budgeting framework is to provide more clarity, more transparency. It's an additional lens. It's not replacing anything. So we're going to calculate the deficit as it was presented in previous budget, the same thing with the debt. But what we're trying to do is to provide more transparency, more clarity for Canadians. So when you're going to look at the budget, you're going to open the page and you're going to be able to see, okay, where is the government of Canada investing my money? There's going to be a part which is, day-to-day expenditure, and the other one on capital. But all that will be to provide more information. It's not going to replace, it's just providing more information on other lens. Like you've seen in the UK and Singapore, many countries have moved to that to provide more transparency, more clarity to people. Our objective is to spend less so we can invest more. We've been very clear to Canadians that we will balance the operating budget over the next 3 years.
Against what?
By 28, 29. Well, the operating budget will be balanced.
Against what?
What is the revenue?
It will be balanced against what? How do you balance the budget?
Will be balanced in the sense that by that time the revenues will cover the operating
Different streams
expenses.
of revenue. So how do you don't get two different streams of revenue.
No, but that's what I'm saying. What we're doing today is to help you in a way, because you'll have more clarity, more transparency. We're going to distinguish between capital investment and operating spending. So you're just going to see that, but the way that the deficit is calculated and the way the debt is reported will be the same as before.
Right.
So it won't change any of the baseline. You'll be able to do the reconciliation. The public accounts of Canada will continue to be published, obviously, in accordance with the accounting principles that have always been used. But it's just another lens. It's just, at the time where we say to Canadians that this is a generational moment, that we need to do generational investment, I think it's only fair. I think it's fair to go to Canadians and say, this is what we're going to do with respect to expenses, day-to-day expenses to run the government, to pay salaries and all that, and this is what we're going to do in order to build the future. It's a new lens. I mean, like you say, the UK has done something similar, Singapore has done something similar, and I think for a long time I've been saying, why don't we present things to Canadians in a way that is far more understandable? When you understand how much is the day-to-day spending and what is investments, when Canadians go and pay the cell bill, they understand that's an expense. When you buy a house, it's an investment. So the government of Canada, when we're doing that, I think it's going to provide more clarity, more transparency, and it's not replacing anything, it's adding something.
Several forecasters are saying the deficit is tracking now towards $100 billion. Is that way off base, or are they in the ballpark?
Listen, you'll have to wait until November 4th for me to provide you with an update on the forecast. But what I would say is that, and I've seen recent comments and I was reflecting on them, I mean, when you consider that Canada has the lowest debt to GDP ratio in the G7, has the lowest deficit to GDP ratio in the G7, that we are only one of 2 countries in the G7 with Germany to have a AAA credit rating, I would say the fiscal situation of Canada is solid. We have the means of our ambition, and that's why we say we need to do generational investments to ensure the future of Canada, because at the time where you have, Canadians understand with everything that's happening, the world economic order is changing in the way, I said that at the G7 recently, it's really the speed, the scope, and the scale of the change we're seeing. This is once in a generation. In my view, you have to go back almost to 1945 to see so much change, so fast, and so broad at the same time in the world economy that everyone is trying to realign.